Fortunately, generally everyone's pulled up quite well. I mean, every international match these days is a pretty bruising matches, so nothing unexpected there. But in fairness, most of the players have come up very well.
Aaron?
Obviously news this morning that McKenzie Arnold is unavailable. Is there any more information on the extent of her injury? Is she likely to be on the sidelines for a while?
No, hopefully not. It's not a major injury, but it's one of those where you just can't take the risk, given in such a short time between getting the injury and playing the game. And it's really important. It's one of those injuries that if it was a cup final tomorrow, you'd probably take a risk and play her. But if she goes out tomorrow and the first minute suddenly has to stretch awkwardly and she tears something, she could be out for a considerable amount of time. So it's very important, just with the injury that she's got, that we get her back to their club to make sure she keeps established in her club spot, which is really critical for her and for us at the moment.
How big an opportunity is this for Tegan? We know that she lost her place prior to the World Cup because of that horrible injury that she had with the concussion, and now she comes back in with sort of the lead into another major tournament for her to pick up and be able to take this chance and run with it.
A great opportunity. We've got 2 first-choice goalkeepers, and we're very confident with both of them. And I think you saw that the way Tegan played the other night. And considering she hasn't played a game for a couple of weeks, because when she went back from the She Believes Cup, where she played very well, Liverpool decided to play the other goalkeeper. So for her to come out and play like she did last night or the other night was fantastic. And as I say, both of them are vying for the #1 spot.
Claire, just the other night you came on, you're an absolute bundle of energy. You must have been absolutely itching to get back out there, especially with your own time spent on the sideline recently.
Yeah, definitely. I think, any time that I'm, wearing the jersey, I want to do my best, and given any minute, I just want to go out there and make an impact, and, that's my mindset going into the game.
Claire, how does it feel to potentially get some minutes at your home ground?
It's amazing. Like, obviously growing up in Newcastle, the first place I kicked the ball, not too far away from the stadium. It's I've got a lot of family and friends in the stadium, and to play out in front of them is something that I'm really grateful for.
Tom, just for you, I saw Mary's hamstring was again strapped today. Are we likely to see her come off the bench? She did make a pretty good impact in the last game, but are we sort of thinking managing her on more minutes?
She's fit and ready to be selected, and I think it'll be fair to say she'll be featuring in the game.
With, like you mentioned the other night, of trying to find that best position with her, maybe it's wider to give her time to get on the ball and do what she does. How do you balance that? And perhaps it won't be your problem soon, but you're whoever's next, that you've got Hayley, you've got Caitlin, you've got so many options in those positions. How on earth do you fit them all in? Do you look at a formation change to get them all in at once, or is it just an embarrassment of riches?
Just pass it on to the next guy or woman. And quite happily exit stage left. It's like any squad, you want everybody fit and healthy and vying for positions. I think, in fairness, when you look at the players that you mentioned, there's flexibility in how they play. So it's, I don't know who's coming in next, but they might have an entirely different system that they want to play. But ultimately, from my perspective as a coach, you want to get your best players out on the field. So I'm a guy that will tend to juggle the system around the players as opposed to the players around the system.
Lady over here.
Tom, obviously, McKenzie Arnold has meant that you had to bring a third keeper into camp. Sally James has been one of the standouts of the Dove season, probably only second to Claudia Jenkins, who obviously is New Zealand. What have you made of James since she's coming to camp?
She's done very well. She's come in, settled in, really quite confidently and sort of held her own. The challenge when you come in here is that we don't actually do an awful lot of training, so it's actually quite difficult to make judgments on players, whether they're goalkeepers or outfield players. But I've been really pleased just the way she's just generally come in and settled into the camp.
And then Claire, obviously coming back to Newcastle, you spoke about it already. How many people have you had hit you up for tickets already?
A lot. Yeah, no, it's we don't play there a lot, so by all means, yeah, a lot of people are coming, and I feel really grateful, and yeah, I'm trying to get as many tickets as I can.
Between you and Tash, we'll probably have half the stadium.
Yeah, maybe.
Fortunately, she's rich enough to buy all the tickets.
How big an opportunity is there in that centre midfield position, do you think, with Katrina coming, perhaps, you know, in the next 12 months, we don't know what that will hold for her, that position next to Kyra. There's a race in a couple, but, you know, you're right in the mix there.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, as a team, we're all trying to, you know, do the best for club and for country so that we can all make our way and put our best hand up for selection come every camp and hopefully come, you know, that Asia Cup. And that's my focus. I really want to be in that team and, you know, hopefully, you know, in the starting 11.
How frustrating was the timing of that injury for Everton coming into this camp? Did this camp act as sort of like all right, got to get back before that?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw Newcastle in the camp, I was like, I got to make it. But by any means, you know, you can't control injuries sometimes. And, you know, I try and always just look forward rather than backwards and, you know, control what I can control. So, you know, just take every game as it comes and do the best with what I have.
Erin and Brooke.
Claire, how big a confidence boost was that win the other night for the team? Have you seen the vibe change after getting a win on the board?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, a win is infectious around the team, and especially when, you know, we're at home in front of our home fans and, you know, given recent performances in the last couple of camps. So it's really good to, you know, get back towards, you know, what we want to achieve, and, you know, we want to keep that momentum going into this game as well.
Tom, have you been told if this is your last game? There's a lot of talk about the next coach coming in. Has anyone officially told you this will be your last game as the Matildas coach?
That's my last game. I don't know. I don't know. As I said, from day, you know, if you'd asked me in September, would I still be here now? I'd have probably said, it's probably doubtful, but I'm still here. Whether this is my last game or not, I don't know. I really, honestly don't know. But I do think if it's not this one, it's more than likely the next one. It's a funny old game. You never know.
All right, on that. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Claire, Tegan the other night said that she was, you know, how crucial it was for her to come back into this camp and get some game time, particularly with a lot of the European contingent, you know, being out of favour with their clubs at the moment. You've had a horrid time through injury as well. How important is it for you to be able to come back here and, you know, get some game time under your belt?
Yeah, I think, you know, the opportunity to wear, you know, the jersey is something that I'll never pass up, and, you know, any game time is good. I've had, you know, a couple of weeks where, you know, I've been out here and there, but all in all, like, I've been able to achieve quite a few minutes with Everton this season, and, you know, we only have 4 or 5 games left, so, you know, for me it's all about putting in my best performances and just getting back to fitness.
And then, Tom, obviously, you know, you selected the squad, the 23-player squad that you had in mind, and then, you know, if players go down with injury, you've got to manage minutes and stuff like that. How difficult is juggling all that for you as a coach?
It's always challenging, but every day is challenging for all coaches. It's part of the job. You know, 3 or 4 days before the camp, everybody was fit and healthy, and then suddenly there's a few that are not fit and healthy. And these things, you know, just part of what you have to deal with. And as I've always said, someone's misfortune is, you know, someone's good fortune, and, you know, those are the moments that open up opportunities for players, like you saw Tegan the other night.